I don't like Matt Reeves, the Batman, and I'm gonna tell you why. The Batman loves Bruce Wayne too much. I really liked what Matt Reeves had to say about this movie before its release. This take wasn't going to represent Bruce Wayne at his best. Instead, Reeves wanted to spotlight an unstable, emotionally repressed billionaire fighting an unwinnable war against an entire city. The film itself, however, heads in a different direction. It only creates the facade of a complicated story. The movie introduces Batman as audiences have come to know him. A symbol of fear keeping criminals from committing crimes. During the opening montage, we cut from bad guy to bad guy scared off from misbehaving when they see the bat signal. They know what it means, and by extension, the whole city knows what it means. Notice we don't see any innocent people afraid of the spotlight. I mean, he terrifies the man he just saved, and granted, this man just watched Batman beat up a dozen criminals, but those same criminals tried to beat him, an innocent man, for no reason, and he had no reason to believe they wouldn't kill him if they had the chance. According to the film's moral compass, this is a Batman that hasn't yet learned his lesson. But besides dressing like a bat, what exactly does Batman do to make this guy afraid of him? If Batman needs to inspire hope instead of fear, we need to see exactly what he does to motivate that fear, and as importantly, what he should do different in any given situation. You could argue it's his suit, you could say he looks too spooky, but at the end of the movie, when he decides to change, he's in the same suit and he doesn't express his need for a redesign. So that's clearly not the point Reeves wants to make. Would the Batman at the end of this story respond to the subway situation any differently? Should the Batman at the end respond to it different? Would the Batman introduced in this scene not save the people trapped under debris in the climax? For all my money, I'd say no. They want to turn Batman from a vigilante into a hero, but he acts like a hero the whole way through. If the movie wanted us to believe that Batman's desire for vengeance genuinely threatens to consume him, he shouldn't have let the squeamish gangster go. He should have been too caught up in the fight, and his own lust for violence, that he doesn't stop at the people actively fighting him. He wants to punish the kid for running with criminals in the first place. Show us that this Batman has something specific to learn. Show us that the innocent have reasons to fear him. Show us that he's not yet a hero. At the end of the second act, the movie finally gets to the point, and the Riddler reveals his entire killing spree was inspired by Batman. It's at this point the movie feels the need to repeatedly say, hope is good and vengeance is bad, as Batman chooses to lead the people of Gotham rather than frighten them. But there are obviously clear distinctions between Batman and the Riddler from the very beginning. Early on, the city shows us that the city knows Batman's MO. He only targets criminals. And the city might not know that Batman doesn't kill, but the Riddler should. The Riddler, a seemingly omniscient genius and avid Batman fangirl, should know he's never killed anyone, right? How can the Riddler logically claim he's following Batman's lead when his mission involves doing things that Batman would never ever do? The Riddler spends the whole movie killing people, and at the end, explicitly sets out to massacre as many innocent people as possible. And to that you might say, the Riddler is delusional. He's crazy. He's driven by a parasocial relationship with a man he's never met. I'd agree. But Batman accepts the blame. So one of Riddler's followers repeats Batman's mantra, I'm vengeance, in a blunt force attempt to show that Batman and the Riddler aren't so different. But that only makes sense when you ignore the context of that line. Riddler's henchman says those words after he tries to commit a mass shooting, while Batman says the same thing when he's saving an innocent person from a senseless act of violence. The cinematography, the music, the editing, all come together to show us that these words cut Batman deep, that he's recognizing similarities between himself and the faction he spent the entire movie chasing. But he's been gaslit. The movie gaslights Batman. I thought the Wayne family drama was similarly messy. Reeves undermines Bruce's crusade with a shocking revelation that is also immediately undermined when we learn that Thomas Wayne wasn't a criminal, he was just a moron. Bruce starts the movie viewing his father as a benevolent politician. Then, around halfway through the story, the Riddler reveals that Thomas Wayne, to keep a scandal from breaking during his campaign, paid Carmine Falcone to kill a reporter. Bruce's perception of his father, One of the people he spent his entire life working to avenge crumbles. Finally, something happened. It's taken half the runtime of a 3-hour-long movie, but Bruce at last has a personal stake in the Riddler's crusade. Until he doesn't. Alfred gets Bruce in on a second critical piece of information. Thomas didn't mean to murder the reporter, he just wanted Falcone to intimidate him. But Falcone, sensing an opportunity to create dirt on the wealthiest man in Gotham, went a little further. At the end of the day, Thomas Wayne wasn't power-hungry, he wasn't a murderer. He was just misguided. How does any of this meaningfully play into Bruce's journey? What could Bruce possibly learn from this? Don't be stupid. He's never been stupid. In fact, he casually invented bulletproof armor. Don't trust Falcone. Like everyone else, he's never trusted Falcone. It's clear 2 seconds into their first conversation that Bruce fucking hates this guy. The reveal that Falcone stole Thomas Wayne's renewal fund is at first a step in the right direction, but as the movie continues, it doesn't seem to affect Bruce on a personal level in the slightest. In this story, Bruce Wayne doesn't really want to exist. He wants only to act as Batman, to spend his life building gadgets, working cases, fighting criminals. He no longer wants to be himself. It's an interesting take on the character that Reeves does absolutely nothing with. When Bruce finds out what Falcone's doing with his father's money, with his family's legacy, he doesn't engage with his real life in any meaningful way to make up for this, even though his conversation with Bella Real explicitly sets that up. In fact, the movie basically skips over the consequences of that reveal and ends with Bruce declaring his intention to Batman even harder, but be nicer while he's in the suit. So at the end of the day, the Batman has too much reverence for its main character. It refuses even to acknowledge his flaws. He doesn't tangibly change because he doesn't need to. Because no matter how often the message of the movie plays, he's never not a hero. They didn't want a version of this character that you at any point didn't root for. They didn't want a version of this character with an edge, a version who went too far. In that, they achieved the opposite of what they were trying to do. They made Batman less relatable. They made him less human.